What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Gene Volpe here with us today. We're talking global tech, and then we're taking your questions live right here on Facebook. So we're going to talk about anything and everything that comes to us, and really just how to be successful in real estate from a sales and marketing perspective. So first of all, let's start with the junior grandmaster himself, my illustrious, the esteemed, the effervescent co-host in the co-pilot seat. Greg, what's up today?
You are being very nice to me, Matt, and that makes me very nervous. So I was doing well. Now I'm very scared. I'm going to sit back here and just be like, okay, when's the other shoe going to drop? Kindness from Johnson? No, right. Say it ain't true.
That's right.
I'm actually really pumped, dude. I just talked to Vicky down at the Bay East Association. Guys, if you guys are part of Bay East, Matt and I, we are going to start launching every Sunday. We're going into their newsletter. So if you guys have not met us, or if you are going to be meeting us from that, welcome to the best show on planet Earth, in my personal, very humble opinion. And if you guys want us to get into your local associations, like emails or something like that, Matt and I have put together a little packet that we can give them, and so that this goodness can go out to all your fellow agents so they can stop being douchebags and actually be intelligent. Because all of our agents are intelligent, not douchebags, Matt.
That's right. That's right. And we thank all of you very intelligent people for watching the show right now.
Yes. Anyways, dude, Gene's here, man. He's going to make it rain on us as always with goodness of knowledge.
That's right. Gene, how are I know he's looking around going, there's got to be, who else is on the show today? What other Gene do we have with us? But we all know it's Gene Volpe. GVI Media. Gene, what's up?
What's up, boys? How you guys doing?
What up?
Doing very well.
Very well.
Excellent. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I love the Q&A session. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, Gene, what have you got for us on the Q and on the tech side?
All right, so you want to jump right into our quick tech tip, and then maybe this will spawn some questions. I have a feeling it might if people are watching this and will think through this. So we talk about digital architecture. And from a marketing perspective, let's bring it back to grassroots. I think in my travels and when I deal with real estate agents and other businesses, people make the mistake of trying to advertise from the tools out to the consumer, when you should be targeting the consumer first and working backwards from their eyeballs. So here's what I mean. I sat with somebody today. We were talking about this person was a real estate agent, an investor, and a wholesaler and seller of investment properties. And so when we sat down, I said, why don't you tell me what your target demographic is? Where did you make your most money over the last 6 months? From who did you make your most money? And the answer was the 60 to 80-year-old demographic of people that were either downsizing or that were estates, inheritances, let's say. So let's say the 60 to 80-year-old faction is either starting to come to the end of their life cycle. I'm trying to put that delicately, right? I don't want to say that, But
you mean they're going to fucking die?
They're coming to the end of their life cycle. It's very marketing terminology. Yeah, like they've reached the end. They're coming near the bottom of the funnel. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
There you go.
I got one foot in the fucking grave.
Listen, I wanted to be delicate. I wanted to be delicate because I know there's somebody out there that's 60 going, hey, you're saying I'm going to die. That's not what I'm saying. We're all going to die, right? We're all going to die.
I am.
Yeah. So the target audience ends up being, so what this investor was telling me was that her target audience is 60 to 80-year-old folks that are downsizing or the kids that are inheriting. So we're going to start to target and go after the eyeballs of the next generation, their children. So maybe the 60 to 80-year-old market on Facebook isn't extremely attractive because it's not as dense as the 30 to 50-year-old demo. So we're going to start a campaign or multiple campaigns across that vertical, let's say, where we're going to do videos and ebooks on medical power of attorney, videos and ebooks on financial power of attorney, video and ebooks on estate sales and how that works, video and photos and ebooks on getting the house ready for sale after your loved one has passed. And then we're going to build ads and social media campaigns around those elements to drive people to pull the information that they want and get them on our list. So instead of just throwing ads and driving the ads to specific landing pages, the landing pages are set based off of the end result, which is where are the eyeballs of the people that I can help the most. Did that make sense, or was that confusing?
Confusing as shit, personally. But I mean,
but check out on me. You checked out on me. Like,
okay, so back it up. So you're demographically targeting the most likely, the people at the top of the chain, the people that are the homeowners, right? And so, all right, so run that by us again. What's the bait that's being put out there that gets them to respond?
Well, it sort of depends on who that end goal is. So I sort of picture it like a triangle, right? The top of the triangle. All right, so why don't we use this? How about if we go with, let's use Greg. So Greg, right now, if I said to you, a phone call is coming in, and this is your ideal client. Give me a demo, sex, age, and maybe a little bit of information on who that client is.
Perfect client, probably mid to late 30s, 1 to 3 kids, working in tech or some sort of industry or an entrepreneur. So they are cash heavy. They are looking to upgrade from their first home to their forever home, not like the grave forever, but like, the big house, right? Not like jail, the big house, but you know what I'm saying. We're gonna go to the big house. And probably 2.5 pets, somewhere in there.
What does a 0.5 pet look like?
It's a hamster.
It's the hamster. Oh my God.
It's a hamster.
We spent way too much time together.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, I gotta go. I gotta get off this podcast.
Oh my God. We said the hamster just simultaneously.
All right, so we got 2 dogs, a dog, a cat, and a hamster. All right.
That's awesome.
So then, Gene, what would you do? How would you start targeting that ideal client?
So that's going to be the top of your pyramid, and then that next level is going to be our lead magnets, if you will. So in that particular case, I now know that that's the demographic that fits Greg the best. That's who he wants to deal with. That's where he's going to make his most money in a lot of cases. And so now we're going to target that. So you got to back into that and say, what would somebody in their mid to late 30s who has 1 to 3 kids, who's cash heavy and is looking to upgrade, what would it be that would attract their attention? So maybe it has something to do with moving up in school district. Maybe there's a lead magnet that says, if you're thinking about, Greg, we talk about this all the time. If you're thinking about upgrading from your present home to your forever home, here's 7 steps that you want to watch out for. Maybe it's mortgage rates, mortgage information, that type of stuff. So we would then, on the second level of that triangle, create these lead magnets and then advertise at the bottom level through your social media to get them to find the lead magnets that basically will capture the top of that triangle, which is the type of person that Greg just mentioned. That make more sense?
Yes.
So I think what most people do is that they start from the bottom of the triangle and start throwing ads out that lead to maybe somewhere specific or not so specific, not really taking into account who it is ending up in front of. So if we do it from the bottom up and it ends up reaching and capturing the attention of 84-year-old people who are not looking to purchase a home, that doesn't help Greg at all. So working backwards from who are your eyeballs, where is your most money, what is it that they're going to like and want to attach themselves to and pull down a free download in order to exchange an email address or a phone number, and then working from that from up down as opposed to down up.
That actually makes a lot more sense after you've explained it, and it's going to help me because I've been working with Midori on working with Perfect Storm. We launched that the other day, and it's actually pulling some decent leads in a short amount of time. But her mindset is the same thing. We need to go down, up to down, not up down to up. What is that magnet? Why are people going to click, give information, and we get them as a lead? And I wrote down a couple of ideas right here, which I think are going to be very helpful. So thank you for clearing up my fog. It was dense today.
Good. I appreciate it. I mean, for me, it's like if you figure out 3 to 4 types of clients that you want to attack, then you can get real specific. This is where it actually benefits you on the bottom line. I can get real specific with Facebook and say, I want to reach 30 to 40-year-old people with children between the ages of 1 and 15 who live within 25 miles of where I am. You can already see with just that 3 criteria how my cost per click is going to go down, right? Because I'm now targeting folks as opposed to me answering emails and leads for in your world, San Francisco, Walnut Creek, people that are calling you from Chicago. That's not a lead that you're looking for.
No.
So you can increase your productivity and your dollars. I'm doing it backwards, while you're decreasing the spend per click that way. So you get more specific, more niche.
So, I mean, the average agent out there, what's one thing that they could, start thinking about today? If they, you're obviously a wealth of knowledge. You've been doing this a long time. And this is not your first rodeo. So this is like breathing to you is explaining this. So break it down in layman's terms, 2 things an agent can do right now that could help them get a lower cost per click besides what we just talked about. I mean, they have that. There was another maybe 1 or 2 tips that they can have that can lower that cost per click if they were to do it. And here's another thing. How do they know what type of Facebook ad to run? Do they want more views? On the videos? Do they want engagement? Do they want to drive them to a page, a website? I mean, what would be the most productive action for them to get a lead?
Oh man, there's
I know
7 years of answers.
Hours episode, yeah.
That's 5 hours episode. But let's talk a little bit about it, because the answer to your question lies in what I sort of just said. All of those questions that you asked me completely depend on what that end goal ends up being. So the first thing that they need to do is identify who is at the top of each of those triangles. So create yourself a list, and don't go overboard. Create 2 types of clients that you would like to attract. And that should be done based off of the last 2 years of business, who's generated the most amount of income for you at the least amount of work, right? That's probably the easiest way to do it. And so once you start there, then you're going to be able to go into Facebook. All right, so hold on, before we jump down 2 levels, let's get to the second level. Then you have to ask yourself, once you've identified that one client at the top of that triangle, then let's talk about what you think they would want to consume from you, and then you have to create that. So if you think that the 30 to 40-year-old people with 1 kid who want to upgrade are going to be interested in an ebook that tells them these 3 great things about X, Y, and Z, then you need to have that produced. In addition to that, you should create multiple streams of content. So do your blog and do 3 videos on the topic. Then do all those things. Finally, sort of back to your question, the cool thing about Facebook is when you go into the ads manager and you're getting ready to start the ad, it'll ask you what type of ad you want to create, leads, audience reach, that type of thing. There's a little eye next to it. If you hover your mouse over that eye, it will actually define for you what that's going to do for you. Then at that point, it just becomes a game. You start playing. Now you start playing, and you're going to want to see. It actually tells you CPC, cost per click, in your insights. So when you go into the Facebook Ads Manager, you can actually look at all the ads you set and then see which ones are costing you 0.0002 cents versus the ones that are $3.80 a click, right?
Oh God, I actually did that. I did a side-by-side run. I did one video with Midori and I introducing her to the world, that she's a part of our team. And that was 4 cents a click, 3 cents a click. And then I did another one a little bit broader, just me bouncing around and highlighting one of my, cold calling videos. That was 0.004 cents per 3-second view. And I'm like, holy Christ, I had like 20 or 30,000 views on that thing. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and listen, this is that next step. What you should do there is then take the elements of what it was that got it to that number and recreate that multiple times and do it again. Like, this is where it starts to become a little bit of a fun science project. So if there was an element, maybe it was the backdrop of where you were, or maybe it was the way she was dressed that day. But those are the things that you want to recreate over and over again, and hopefully get that 0.004 cents down to 0.00004. Then you're really making money.
Yeah, that would not hurt my feelings. Also, they have a rating score of how relevant that ad was to the audience that you had selected. And I was fucking pissed, dude. I was only a 4. I was like, damn it. I was obviously not very relevant. So how do I pick that up? And I that's where I hire you to make me more relevant. This is hire professionals, fools. Don't try to do it yourself.
Is that possible, Matt? Can I make him more relevant?
Well, I'm hoping. Maybe
irrelevant.
So. But yeah, I mean that's a good point. So Facebook, it's in Facebook's best interest to put the content in front of people that the people want, rather than just what the advertisers want to put in front of them. So it's an interesting thing, right? So unlike in the days of ABC and CBS and stuff like that, where they seemingly didn't care about whether your attention was actually on the TV during the commercials or not, as long as somebody paid them to put the commercial there, Facebook can actually tell when you skip the advertisements and when you don't bother to click and when you don't bother to watch a video. And they deeply, intensely care on whether you are serving up ads that are relevant to the people that you're trying to advertise to. So like Greg, in your case, you may think it's relevant to your area that Midori is going into real estate and can help them with any of their needs. 6 out of 10 people apparently don't agree, which is fine.
No, reverse that.
You're
Reverse that.
interrupting them with the message you want them to have, right? Now, if you were able to target it down to just, let's say you had like a list of just Midori's friends and relatives, I guarantee that would be 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
right. But her relevance. I mean, the funny thing is, Gene, maybe you can help me with this. I couldn't figure this out. Like, it was an odd numbers, but like it reached something like, I don't know, 5,000 people or something like that. But it was watched like 9,000 times. How is that possible? Because I was totally baffled.
I guess unless the one thing I'm thinking off the top of my head is if everybody watched it twice.
And people, I think, were. I mean, it was very interesting. I'm like, how the hell did that work? But
yeah, I've seen the numbers skewed sometimes, but I personally don't really have a solid answer for that, to be honest with you.
I was baffled by it. But the only thing I could think of was a guy and a gal demographic versus just a guy. You know, both genders could appreciate the video a little bit. You know, I don't know. Maybe. I'm just fucking thinking out loud here.
Yeah.
Matt.
Well, let's get back to the message and kind of that triangle. It goes back to kind of the classic marketing triangle, like of the market, the message, and the media. And most people start from the wrong end, and they're always thinking about the medium first. They're thinking like, hey, I want to get clients on Facebook. And they never take that next step of thinking, well, who are the clients? Who are you even talking about? And what message do you have to put in front of them that's going to be compelling? And most people don't have an answer to either of those two questions, and so they're focusing on the least important part of the triangle first. The obsession is with the tools to get a message out when they don't even know what to say or who to say it to.
Yeah. Listen, this is why guys like me will be in business for a long time, because it's somewhat of an art. You have to be very tactful. You have to be tactical, and it just takes a lot of time. I mean, for you to be able to put, I mean, you know this, to put together one ad that leads to a lead magnet that you capture their email address in and then send them emails and flyers and letters. I mean, that's a lot of time just to do one, let alone if you're doing an A and B split test, if you're doing 5 different parallels at one time. I mean, it's a lot of stuff.
That's right. It is a lot of stuff. And that's, I mean, not only have we, I've hired you to work with me on my team, but Matt and I you're helping us, grow the show. So because Matt and I want to grow our show basis, but we don't have your knowledge. So then just talking about like what you just said, I mean, we're going to say, Matt, Gene, we're going to partner with you. We're going to hire you to come help us on another front to get more visibility for the show, to help more people. And you like rattle off all these terms and we're like, come again? What does that mean? And you're like, oh, it's simple. We're like, you're hired. Okay. Thank you, God.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's what people don't realize is, man, you can swim, you can drown in the details of the tactical part of marketing. And it's the least important part.
Yeah, which is why a lot of times we always, I know a couple times I've been on this thing, we always say throw the shit at the fan and see what sticks. And I know that almost sounds like a cop out, like it's me setting you up for failure, like just try it, see what happens. But the reality of it is that that's why if you think of what A/B split testing is, it's, hey, try this ad and then move the words and change it to black and white and do it again, because you don't know what the subconscious is going to attract people to. So I even say, if you're going to do split testing, do A, B, C, D. If you have the bandwidth to do it, and if you have the monetary spend, the budget, split it out across a couple of them. And then what we do is we figure out which one of those 4 is nailing it, and we double down on it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get stuck with they get stuck in I guess, wherever they are, wherever they're living. They're like, well, this has worked for this long. We'll just keep on doing it from here, and this will keep on working. It's like, well, no, actually, it's not performing at its best anywhere close to it. And people just don't know what they don't know. So they don't get the results they could be getting because they've never tried anything, because it's out of their comfort zone. That fucking comfort zone, dude, is always killing people. I mean, just day in, day out, no matter what, no matter if it's prospecting, online stuff, if it's personal, professional, if you're comfortable, you're happy. And the reason why is because your brain is designed to keep you in your comfort zone, because it's designed to keep you healthy and alive. That's why you don't do the things you don't want to do or that are unfun or unsexy, because your brain is saying, this is danger, this is bad, this is I could die from this, because our prehistoric brains are saying, look, we don't know what's behind that, around that corner up in life. Take it slowly. When in reality, in today's day and age, there's not going to be a saber-toothed tiger waiting over there to make us into a snack. I mean, it might be you might get a dislike or a troll on Facebook saying something nasty. Who gives a shit? Move forward. Yeah. Fuck them. Let's go.
Yeah. So listen. So to that point, I was reading the book. Matt and I had a great call last week about some books and some different emails and training. And one of my favorite lines from this book, and really makes you think, is, are you coming from a place of aversion or ascension? Deep.
I'm coming to a place.
I feel like it's a Jason Leister quote.
No, it's pretty close. It's a Burchard quote.
Or is it Burchard? Yeah.
Yeah, and basically what he's saying is, if you're in a place where you're ascending, that's where you're going to gain your freedom. The aversion is you putting everything off and staying in your comfort zone, and you're never going to progress that way. So you got to take inventory of yourself, and the question always ends up being, am I making this decision coming from a place from aversion because I'm going to stay where I'm at comfortably, or ascension because I'm going to crush it?
Dude, mine's been ascension since day one, and I'm always like, Matt, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this, we got to do that. And he's like, fuck you, Greg, no. My team's like, fuck you, Greg, no. I'm like, I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it.
It's a lot easier to come from a place of ascension when you get to put the hard mental thought off onto somebody else, which brings me to the number 2 reason why people don't,
fucking stupid?
Why they're not successful. No, I'm saying there are certain things that you don't want to put the mental thought into, and so you want to think big, but then you want other people to put the hard mental thought in, and I get it. But so you talk about like Facebook ads, right? In terms of like why people don't do it. It isn't just that they're afraid. It isn't just that they believe that their subconscious is telling them that there's danger or rejection or whatever. A lot of times that is the case when it comes to things like prospecting. But when it comes to like figuring things out and solving problems, I think there's a lot of people out there that they just don't want to put in the hard mental thought. Like, in order to figure out this thing, I'm going to have to sit here for a half an hour and literally strain my brain to learn new stuff, right? And not just learn it, not just take it in passively. Like, anybody can take in stuff passively. Anybody can listen to podcasts and read books and read articles and read blogs and just kind of take stuff in. But I mean, like, figure stuff out. That is not easy. Take it from somebody who just spent like freaking a half hour yesterday morning at 5 a.m. trying to figure out how to integrate Cloudflare with ClickFunnels. It is not easy to figure some of this stuff out. Exactly, Greg. You have an aversive reaction to it. So I just wanted to point that out, that it's not just fear that holds people back. It's also hard mental thought and the dread of just having to sit down and figure something out that you don't already know how to do. And that does go back to your point, Greg, of that's another way that people stay in that comfort zone, is avoiding hard mental thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dyslexic, dude. I mean, I have to work harder than any of you motherfuckers out there when it comes to reading. That shit is a fucking chore, okay? And so I have to sit there and I have to chew through a book. It's not like an enjoyable sit down with a cup of tea on a rainy day and just whiz through a book and love it. Fuck that, But I sit there and I will chew through it. If I don't know something, I will go back and read it. Why do you think my Hobbit pads exist? These are all notes from me reading and figuring my way through this swamp of mental gymnastics, when it comes to learning something new. I write it down, I go back and review it, and it doesn't take that much. If you have a passion behind learning that new thing, if you have to do it, then you will figure a way through it. It might take you a little while, but you'll get through this thing. Like, if you didn't have Gene, if you didn't have someone in your life that you goes, hey, Volpe, I need to hire you for doing blah blah blah, and he's like, okay, I'm hired. But if you had to get it done by the end of Friday, you'll figure it out. You'll YouTube it, you'll read about it, you'll ask questions about it, you'll hunt down the information. So in that mindset, guys, don't let anything stop you. Don't let it beat you. Beat it. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. End of story. I have lived my life that way almost my whole life. Don't wish it was easier, because that's not a way to go through life, because that's just getting a trophy for showing up. That's not how real life is really put. Anyways, I'm off my soapbox.
Gene, anything you want to add to that? I know sometimes you have to take off. This is Friday, and you get some things to finish up. But if you want to pipe in and you have anything to add to that.
No. But until you kick me off, I'm actually okay for a little bit of time. So if you wanted to open up Q&A, it's up to you. I'll get off if you want.
Yeah. No, I wanted you to be able to stick around if you were able to. So let's do this. Let's take a question here real quick. This is from Brad on the lead gen scripts and objections group. It says, on your listings, do you ask for a pre-qual or approval letter prior to confirming the showing, or do you let the agent show it regardless? And what's your reasoning? So Greg, let's go with you, and then we'll dive into some other questions.
So I'm the listing agent, and Matt Johnson calls to show my property, and I just let him go show the property. Let me back that up. It really depends. For the normal properties, in the area, we absolutely just go show it. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. It's okay. I don't know. I don't have to know that you're completely pre-approved. But on the upper echelons, like the $3, $4, $5, $6+ million homes, those sellers become much more private, and therefore, like when we have $3 to $4 million listings, we have to see a pre-approval letter before we set up a showing, because they don't want to have people tromping around their property if it's a $4+ million upon just looky-loos, because you will attract a lot of just looky-loos, with a lot of time wasters and people that might have sticky fingers. So on those upper price point listings, we do require a pre-approval letter to be sent over. Gene, Matt and Gene, have you guys seen anyone else do that on your sides? I mean, Matt, with any of the agents you're working with?
Yeah, I've heard of that, especially in the higher price points. Yeah, if it's coming in from an agent that they don't know, that there's no relationship, and I think it has to do also with how sensitive your seller is to the disruption to their life of a showing, and how aggressive the other agent is being on, like, hey, can we come through in the next hour? Or can we come through Saturday morning at 8 a.m.? And you're like, ugh. Like, no, that is an uncomfortable call to make to the seller if you ask at all. And yeah, come on now, it better be worth it. So let's make sure you have a qualified buyer and not someone who's looking $200,000 above their price point. So that's from the people that I've talked to that resonates. Gene, you agree?
100%. I was going to say exactly what you were just going to say.
Yeah.
But there's also things you can set up inside the showing, guys, as well, in your MLS, at least in our MLS. We're showing instructions. You must set an appointment 2 hours in advance, call 24 hours, just go and show, text and go. I mean, you can leave all these different, instructions in there. Now, agents they don't always follow them. That's why we all of our lock boxes on our properties, we do not attach them to the property in any way, shape, or form. We set them outside the home, so that if Mrs. or Mr. Seller are going to be jumping in the shower or feeling well or whatever else, just bring the lockbox inside. Nobody can gain access to your property if they don't have a key to it. So if you have some douchebag at 8 a.m. on a Saturday going ding dong, and they want to come by and see it, well, they're not getting very far except for a slap upside the head. So Matt, you're very intense on something that is not me, damn it. You're not paying attention to the show.
Well, it's not that I'm not paying attention to the show. I'm looking through some of the questions that we have on the lead gen scripts and objections group, and making sure that I bring a question where we can all bring value. So there is one here, Greg, an interesting one that I think you at least will have probably the best perspective of the three of us on. And so it is from, let me get the name here. So it's David Upchurch. Says a question on old buyer leads. We're calling about 1,000 old leads, trying to revive them. What's the best way to get them to talk or respond? Should we call? Should it be a call script? Should it be a text, an email? So first of all, let's tackle it from just sales and marketing point of view. So you have this list. There are people that have raised their hand and said, I'm interested in buying a house. Nothing was done with them, at least that you know of. They haven't closed into closed buyers, right? So you just have a list of 1,000 kind of semi-warm people that have raised their hand and said they want to buy. So how would you tackle that, Greg?
I would get on the phone immediately and just start calling them and leaving them voice messages. If I had cell phones, I'd shoot them a text message, and then I'd send them an email. Day 1, day 2, day 3. Call day 1, text day 2, email day 3, and then start the whole process back over and just cycle until they either tell you to take a long walk off a short pier, or they say, hey, look, thanks for reaching out. We already bought something, or hey, we're on pause, or hey, thanks for reaching out. We are still actively looking. We haven't found what we're looking for. But one way or the other, get a response. Either put them in the delete box, or put them in the active box, or put them in the follow-up box. One of the three, but get a definite answer. I'm actually going through that right now It is laborious. But I mean, last week I called, and I know it sounds really low, but like 15 or 20 of my past clients and past leads. And a couple of them were like 2 years old and they were looking to buy. And I called them, hey guys, you still looking to buy? You haven't talked to you, blah, blah, blah. They're like, hey, thanks for following up. We haven't bought anything yet, but yeah, let's talk next week. I'm like, wow. I mean, I totally thought that was going to go in another direction, but it was a positive experience. So don't be afraid of it. I mean, I was listening to Chris Smith talk the other day, and he was right on this thing. When it comes to online buyer leads, if you don't respond back within minutes, seconds, sometimes, right? Yeah. They exponentially decrease in value. If you're 30 minutes later after they log in, or an hour later, dude, you might as well have just burned your money, because they became 4 or 5 other people's leads as well. Yep. That's why it's so important to respond so quickly, guys. Everyone thinks like, well, I'm the only one that they put their information in on. You are the rule, not the exception. Okay, you're not that cool. That means you got to get out and build a relationship, bring something of value. Get on that smartphone, bam, send them a video text. Hey, John Smith. Hey, glad you logged onto our site. Give me a call. Let's talk about the future properties here in the area. Talk to you later. Bye. Click. Bam, done. That's how you handle a lead, and that's how you can follow up with a text as well. Do a video text to them that will get a response instead of going. Do a video text. Get them to call you. Gene, thoughts?
No, huge fan of the video text. And now we talked about this a couple of weeks ago in the Tech Talk, the video messenger on Facebook. You can send messages to people that you aren't friends with. So if I got one coming at me on text from Greg McDaniel saying, hey, saw your inquiry on Zillow or whatever you're advertising on, and I get another one coming on the other side from Facebook, I'm saying, man, this guy's all over the place. This is great. So no, I'm a big fan of the video stuff. Obviously.
Dude, I was messing around with Amy B the other day online, and she hit me up with this video Facebook message, but it was way longer than 15 seconds. I'm like, Amy, how the hell did you do that? She's like, Greg, you go to messenger.com, it'll bring up your messages. You can send a video message from your computer, and it can be way longer than 15 seconds. You can do a much longer video presentation on that. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. But the question is, how long is too long then at that point? Because I've looked down and I've noticed that like at 46 seconds on average, that is when I look down at a video. I'm like, okay, this is annoying. Boom, 46 seconds almost every single time. That is my cutoff point for me looking and listening to someone or something that I'm not, wrapped in, full attention with. So keep them as short as you can. Maybe 30 seconds, guys, if you had to go longer. Gene, 30 seconds ish, yeah.
I like to think about it like a voicemail. How many times have you left a 2-minute voicemail? You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. You just hit them with your points. I mean, I think everybody's so busy and so occupied these days that you need to sort of go, hey, Greg, it's Gene. 1, 2, 3, 4. Call me back. Here's how you get me. I mean, that's really all I need from you. If you're giving me more than that, a bunch of crap, I'll just call you on the phone.
Yeah, I do that all the time when people are sending me, chats on Facebook Messenger or something like that. I mean, like I'm messaging Beverly right now, and she and I will go back and forth a couple of times. I'll just pick up the phone and be like, yeah, Bev, what's up? I can't do this chat thing anymore. So exactly right. Hit it to the point. Get moving forward. But get the engagement going. I think is the number one thing for the old buyer leads. And then ask them for a referral. If they've already maybe bought something or holding off, ask them, probe a little bit deeper, go to the 3 deep questions. Why? Okay, you guys are holding off. Is it time of year? Is it finances? Is it family? Whatever it is, understand their situation, because if you just take their rejection right at the face value, then you're probably going to lose some opportunities that could be sitting right there on the sidelines, but you just didn't ask the right questions.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, when it comes to marketing and everything, that there are so many good leads lost because the agent's afraid to ask maybe a little bit more of a difficult or hard question. And it's not a hard question, like it's hard to say it, but it's just hard because it gets the agent out of their comfort zone. And it's not like what are you thinking about buying? No. Okay, bye. They're like, oh, thank God I got to know. I don't have to actually engage with them. But it's well, help me understand, what changed from when we talked last. You just dig deep. Remember, you're just a problem solver. You're just problem solving. You're just digging deep, find out what's going on. And I think as soon as people wrap their head around that it's okay, they'll start getting a lot more leads.
Yeah, and listen, along those lines, you would probably agree, repetition breeds comfort, right? So we're talking about getting out of your comfort. That first time where you ask for the sale or ask for that lead feels very dirty. I know me and Matt talked about this a couple weeks ago. like even still when I say to people what I do and I ask for business, it still feels dirty to me. But the 6,085th time you do it, it's like, hey man, this is what I do. This is where I make my money. Hopefully you can give me some stuff. So like everything else you do, you get more comfortable the more you do it. So get into your space and get your no's now. By your 30th no, you're a pro at it.
So let's switch gears. We've got a question from Paul Franklin. He's talking about how he cannot endorse BombBomb enough when it comes to doing videos, and sequential videos for following up and everything else. Gene, what's your experience with BombBomb, and is there an alternative that people may or may not know about? Because I don't know of one, and I'm just kind of throwing it at you just to see if you have anything that you might know about.
So no, not at all. So first of all, I love BombBomb, so I know. I happen to have had conversations with Chris Smith about it, and I know his take on it. And Steve Passanelli, who is the CMO of BombBomb, actually lives a couple of miles from me. I've had a couple of conversations with him too. So I'm a huge fan of it in the sense that because I'm such a proponent of video, it really does make video emailing easier for people that don't know how to do it. I had a client that was doing it for a while, and this guy from a tech perspective, had a hard time turning on his computer, let alone sending emails. But he was sending video emails from BombBomb. I mean, that to me serves a purpose. It fills a need for a lot of real estate agents. So that's a good one. I mean, look, if you want to save yourself the monthly fee, which really isn't worth it, you can do all the same stuff with your own email. You copy and paste the screenshot, you link it to the YouTube channel. I mean, there's a way to do it, but it's going to take you 5 times the amount of time, 5 times as long. So I don't know of any really competitive way to do that. They really do have a corner on the market right now, so not really.
Matt, what about you? Anything on your radar when it comes to video email? They used to have a couple other systems out there. I'm just totally drawing a blank on which ones they are.
No, I've only ever heard BombBomb thrown around as the best alternative for that. I mean, people compare that to viral marketing a lot, which we all know is completely different. In terms of like lead response, I haven't heard anything as an alternative to BombBomb that's like different or better. Like, hey, I know you use BombBomb, but you should use this. I've never heard anyone ever utter that phrase or put that on a Facebook group ever. So it sounds to me like there's not, at least not in the real estate world, that's ideal for us to use for that. Now, I think that being said, what might take the place of BombBomb is the whole thing where, lead generation sites where they can sign in through Facebook, and then you've got them, or the lead generation tools that are coming where it goes out and it takes the information that they give you, goes and compares that to the information they can get publicly through big data and matches it up with a Facebook profile and loads that information automatically into your lead, like your CRM. So when you get a lead come in and you say, oh, great, they're on Facebook. Well, why wouldn't you just send them like a 15-second message through Facebook Messenger?
Yeah. Back to how the comparison between viral and BombBomb, dude. So I was recording my videos with Reed, my coach over there, which used to be Matt's position. Dude, so Matt, we always talk about Frank, how we say he does a quarterly write-up, right, and gets attention, right? Okay. I have 32 people that are interested in either buying or selling real estate from that one email. That's the power of copyright and the power of giving someone, the ability to do what their God-given gift is and allow you to do what you're good at and not try to be the person doing it. Because if I try to write it, a third grader using crayons is what's going to come out of it when it comes to like the value for someone when they read it. And I was blown away by that. But yeah, I mean, there was another one called iJot. Jeff brought that up on the show. iJot used to be around. I remember hearing that. Is iJot still around, Gene? Do you know?
I used it recently. I say recently, a couple months back. I'm going to look at it while we're doing it. iJot was one. Yeah, it's there. And there was a ComF5 was another one too. I don't know if that's the one you were thinking about.
I don't know. There were so many of them. I mean, iJot, the pricing on this thing, it's not much. I mean, you can get your free version for 5 minutes. You can get the pro version for $30 a month, or get the professional version. You do 15 minutes, but you get a variety of different, packages, obviously, but you get 3,000, messages, 500 messages, or 50 messages a month. So I don't know, man. It really comes down if you're going to be comfortable enough to do the videos. I know that I think I can't wait for the day, to tell you the truth, when video email or video communication is just the norm. We no longer type things because there's so much information lost in the translation. I mean, when you cap a word, are you saying it because you're pissed or because you're happy?
Rent a space on like Necker Island and just see you later.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So wait, two things, because we're going to talk about this later. But number one is iJot is actually gone. The website's still there, but it says if you read it, it says we're saying bye to iOS, Android, and web. So that's iJot's actually gone. The other thing is don't sleep on what you just said, dude. I don't know if you saw the F8 conference data that just came out of the recaps over the last couple of weeks, the Facebook conference that they have. Virtual reality is coming down your throat, bro. It's happening right now. Like it's going to be, you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's all going to be VR.
It is, dude. I was watching a video about it. It's on my Facebook page. Guys, go check this thing out. It is amazingly awesome and scary what you do in virtual reality. I mean, it is literally, I mean, you can make video phone calls into Facebook from virtual reality. You can have a selfie photo of you and then send it to people. I mean, it's just insane, dude. I'm only like a quarter of the way through the video, but I mean, I'm with Gene. It's going to be here and it's going to be scary and awesome all at the same time. I mean, for me, fuck. That means I don't have to go show any more houses. Just let's record this bitch in VR and there you go. You go have fun in the house.
So listen, so just to not to get off on this tangent, but there was about a year ago, there was a company that came to us that we were talking about incorporating VR into our real estate video tours. And it wasn't quite timing the way that it worked. It didn't work out real well, but they sent us their app on their phone. And for you to understand this concept, you really have to see it for yourself. It's very difficult to consume and understand what it means. But what we were doing was you could go out to a street and turn on the VR app that used your camera, and you focus the phone on the building, and inside that building, you could get things would pop up on your screen, like let's say Unit 1C, and it would say $343,000 for sale, and you would click that button, and it would take you to the landing page for that property for the agent that was for sale. Like, there's some crazy stuff that's going to be coming down the pike that you're going to be able to kill the game with.
That's cool.
Now wait until that integrates. I read a book years ago called Pull. I think it was called Pull. It was the whole premise of it is that like a lot of the things that we do in life and a lot of things that exist in technology are pushed onto, like a receiving audience. The receiving audience is not like pulling it towards them, right? So we've got real estate agents that are listing homes, and then it's our job to push those homes out to a wider world and get them to say, yeah, I want that house. It's going to get to the point, and we definitely have to go out there, and we have to, like, as a listing agent, it's our job to go out there and make the home as presenting and inviting as possible in order to try to entice the buyers in. Greg, you've talked about Zillow's Make Me Move. So one of the theories in the book, which is really interesting, is that in the future, there would be like no difference between homes for sale and homes that are not for sale. Every home is for sale. The only question is it reasonable, right? Because in your, what they call it, your data locker, which would be like the one central place where your information lives, you'd have like a storehouse because everything would be RFID tagged. Every single possession that you own, from the house that you own to the car to the clothes that you wear, literally everything is in your data locker and everything is always available. You can just literally just say, hey, like, I don't really need that. I don't need that guitar back there. I can just click in my data locker and offer it for sale. That way, if anybody pulls that information of, hey, I want to see all the guitars that are available in Temecula right now for sale, provided I give them the right amount of money. And it pulls in all that information. So the homes can be the same way. So rather than us having to go out and list homes, everybody just says for themselves, hey, in order to make me move, you'd better offer me $250,000 for the home. And anybody can see that information anytime they want online. Now, that doesn't remove the need for agents, but it is an interesting technology to think of.
It's scary. It's scary, dude. Like, see, I don't know if, can you see these?
Yes. Bose, yeah.
They're the Bose Quiet Comforts, right? And my daughter, my 9-year-old, calls me last night. I'm at an event, and she calls me and it's like, Dad, call me back, leaves me a message. And I'm like, what's the matter, Izzy? And she goes, you know those Bose earphones you have? There was just she was watching like the local Fox News. There was just a news report about how these things are recording your conversations, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's funny because I believe it, but you think about what you're saying, Matt, how How do we get to the point where everything is that accessible? It's all the data scraping. Everything you do online and everywhere in your world is being what's the word I'm looking for? Categorized, right? Cataloged. It's being cataloged.
Catalog.
Yeah.
It's being cataloged so that places like Facebook can pull this stuff in and target just Matt Johnson on a Tuesday when he's getting ready to go to the gym between 4 and 4:15 and he's taking his first sip of coffee. How did that happen? Well, they have everything on you. So that's the scary thing, but it's going to be powerful down the road.
I'll know that happens when I get an ad that says, Matt, we have a Starbucks coupon for you. Your iced espresso is ready. It's 30 cents off, and there'll be a scone waiting for you when you get there.
And that actually probably already happens with the amount of time you spend there. But my other half of my family, guys, you guys don't know this, but they're in big data. And so they buy large data sets on everybody. Well, they are going to be buying everybody in the country. That's like hundreds of millions of data sets, and a data set can be as little or as much as we want to buy on the person. So, Gene, I would know that you would have kids. I would know what type of diapers or clothes or dog food or what kind of cologne you wear, what kind of perfume your wife wears. I know what political associations you're with, how much you donate to them, I know everything about you in buying a data set, and it's like 10 to 15 cents per record. Okay. Wow. It's amazing. We have a little barcode across our head. Like I said, every keystroke, every action we do, it's all being recorded. Like Pinterest. Pinterest is evaluated at hundreds, like billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. Why? Because they are so important to future sales. Because I have my stuff up, for recipes or cool cars or bucket lists or whatever else. But whatever I put into a file, they know I'm interested in it, which means they're now going to be able to sell me to the appropriate vendor, because I don't want to look at fucking Chanel handbags. What do I have to do with that? But if you put a cool ass Mercedes in front of me, or a cigar, or a bourbon or something like that, I'm like, all right, I can get behind this cool idea. I like this. It's hyper local marketing and prospecting, guys, and it's coming down the pipe. And remember that really exciting thing I've been baiting you guys with? We're getting closer to it. And it goes along with what we're talking about here, and it's radically going to transform our real estate industry, radically. And it's going to save you guys a lot of time, going to save you a lot of money, save you a lot of heartache, and you're going to have a lot more fun doing it. And I wouldn't get too concerned about Big Brother looking at you. They already are. So don't worry about it. I mean, sorry.
So wait, real quick, just to kind of jump on that a little further. Have you guys seen Citizen 4?
Why do I feel like I have?
What is it?
It was the movie about the documentary about Edward Snowden.
Oh, yes, I did see that. That was a great movie. Yeah,
so here's what I would say. Go back and watch it again. And and anybody who's listening to this should watch it, because they actually do a sort of a layman's terms overview of how you can be tracked via the things that you have in your arsenal. So, for example, this thing gets pinged every 5 seconds from the cell tower. So when it jumps from cell tower to cell tower, they have a pretty decent idea of the vicinity that I'm in. Plus, I go down the street and use my credit card to pull money out of an ATM. Well, I was at that bank at X amount of time. Then I was at Starbucks and I used my card, and then I went here. So this is with any data analysis, over a long period of time, they can start figuring out your trends and your habits. And so what's going to end up happening, Matt, this is coming right now, is that they're going to know when you're driving that your GPS is on, they're tracking you from the satellite. They're going to know you're within a mile of a Starbucks, and you're going to get a coupon pushed to your phone. And what are you going to do? I'm right here. I'm going to go in. Why not?
Yeah, it's a geofencing. They've been playing with that for quite a while. As soon as I heard about it, I tried to buy into it, and the guy's like, "Well, it costs $100,000 to start it." I'm like, "A little out of my budget," but I mean, that's what Snapchat's doing. They can set a geofence around an open house or around an event with your custom filter, and anyone who enters into it can use that filter. But I mean, they used it in retail for a long period of time, like you said, for Starbucks. But I mean, when they started it in clothing, when you would go look, they give the analogy of like a woman would go look at a pair of jeans, look at them and be like, I like them, but I don't like them that much. Put them down. Once you break outside of the geofence, you get pinged. Bam. Hey, don't walk away. I'll give you 20% off if you buy me. It's the pair of jeans. You're like, the fuck is going on here, man? The pants are talking to me. Either the LSD was good in college, or the tech is catching up. But
That's funny.
Oh,
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting world. But I think that the key thing, like, and I love the way that you started off, Gene, which bringing it back to like who your person is. Because it's so easy, and we just spent the last 45 minutes talking about cool tools, right? So it's very, very easy to get distracted by the medium, the tools, the tactics of reaching and somebody and selling them on what you do. But the bottom line is that it ends up being human nature, right? And it's so important at the end of the day. Like, one of the questions that I wish we had a chance to get to was, if you could only pick 3 lead sources, what would they be? Because if you ask yourself a question like that, it's not so much about where the leads come from, it's who are they.
yes.
Right? So if you're getting nothing but, like, Facebook can be the greatest thing since sliced bread if it brings you the right people. If it brings you people that aren't going to buy for 18 months and you need a client now, well, then it's not so great. It's not your best lead source. Your best lead source is going to people that already know you, like you, trust you, or find somebody out there who's already looking for a home and get them to know, like, and trust you. So it's so critically important to know, like, who you're really going after, and then figure out, okay, how do they use stuff like virtual reality? How are they going to use these tools like geofencing? And then you start it from, rather than starting from the perspective of what you want, start from the perspective of the person that you want to help and what's valuable to them.
Mm-hmm. Because
go ahead, Grant. I'm sorry, Greg.
No. I was just gonna say we all come from the point of view of, like, me, I know best, I know all. When in reality, I don't know what a mother of 3 kids is thinking about. Probably a nap most of the time.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I would need to think about that, all right? I would need to put myself in her shoes. Like, okay, what would be valuable to her? Maybe like a 2-hour, a half a day babysitter, would be something more valuable than a night at the Ritz-Carlton, because she gets some time to go do, her things on her own time, or just go face down into a pillow and go take a nap for half a day, whatever it is. And then you can offer them, they're going to come back to you. So yeah, I'm just jumping on Matt's bandwagon and your bandwagon, Gene, on that. I think it's imperative that once we change that and we understand that we're not the smartest people in the room, we need to understand and get in the other people's shoes and speak to them their language. It will change our responses tremendously.
Yeah, and listen, here's to also talk on that is, like, think about what Greg said with the genes, which was, what the F, these genes are talking to me, right? When you evoke that human emotion of what the hell just happened, you have a better opportunity of them taking a second look at you. So when you do find that client base, what are you going to create for them? When you do find your target market, I should say, what are you going to create for them that's going to make them do a double take?
Yeah, that's it. That is a great point. Because it should be, like what the old, I think it was maybe Eugene Schwartz that said it, but you want to enter the job of, like, advertising and marketing is to enter the conversation that's already taking place in the mind of your customer. And that's something that we lose sight of a lot, which is, and sometimes it's hard to get into the customer, into their head. It's a lot easier when you are your customer, right? When you're selling to someone like you. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. Like, Greg, you're a single guy. You made that analogy that it's hard for you to understand what, like a married woman with 3 kids is thinking. Like, you don't think the same way. You have completely different priorities. So for you to, like, put a compelling message in front of her, you're going to have to, like, step outside yourself and see things from her perspective. And probably it's better just to talk to a lot of them and figure out, I mean, you just have to get out and talk to people and figure out what their concerns are. What are their fears? What are their hopes and dreams? What are the things that make them do that double take? What are the things that, if you were to put that message in front of them, makes them do a double take? Because it's not going to make you do a double take. You and I, Greg, like, we're still far apart from thinking of, like, hey, I should probably look for a nice house in a good school district. Like, what's a school district? Like, I was homeschooled. What's a school district?
I unfortunately have to know, because I have one right outside this window, and I know when it's 3:00 because there's drag races taking place outside of my window with horns blaring annoyingly. But Hank Avex was talking the other day on one of the videos, and I tuned in and I was like, he actually, as bald as he is, and as big as his beard is, it's not you, Gene. It's not you.
Oh, okay. Right.
It's okay. It's okay, buddy. We like bald guys with beards.
Okay, thanks.
They're our friends.
Despite his baldness, he had some significant display. Is that what you're saying?
Despite his baldness, yes.
Despite his baldness. Okay.
So it goes back to the mother with 3 kids. He says, with the analogy, if you sit down next to the opposite sex at a bar or something, and you immediately try to shove your tongue down her throat because you're like, hey, baby, let's make out, right? That's the same thing that we all been doing. And I've been thinking about this since he made this analogy, and it's like, that's what we do when we do calls. We do cold calls. I'm very guilty of this, very guilty. I try to go from first base to third base with someone, trying to get invoke a reaction from them in regards to picking a client up by going, hey, you guys thinking about buying or selling? Well, who the fuck are you, first off, and why am I going to give you that answer? There's no relationship built. I didn't think about where they're coming from, where their mindset is, what's important to them. So like we were just saying, guys, go out and build a relationship. Take everything I've ever done in my live cold calls and throw it out the window, because I know I'm going to. I got to come up with a way to build a rapport and a relationship. How can I get my foot in the door and build so they like me? So that they want to talk to me and want to give me good information. Look at all the conversations that you have on prospecting. The true gold is found mid to the end of a conversation that was truly honest and in depth, because they got to know you and then they opened up to you. And like the mom with 3 kids, if I was to talk to her for a long period of time, I would get to know her. She's exhausted. She this, that, and another thing. Well, great. Now I can give a solution to her problems without being salesy, which therefore she will turn and like the fact that I helped her out, law of reciprocity. Then she'll want to give to me, right? But so how do we do that? And I know we're 2 minutes until the close of the show, and then I'll drop a big question. Matt, Gene, how do we solve that problem? How do you go from trying to shove your tongue down the poor girl's throat and get a second date, for AKA going with scripts, to building a relationship, but without pissing them off and taking a lot of their time?
Matt?
Okay. To me, it comes down to, you have to be able to offer the right piece of value for where they are at in the process. And Greg, you and I have worked on this so we were working on this with the ISAs from Prime Seller Leads the other day. Remember that thing that I wrote out, like the four agreements? Mm-hmm. Right? Like if you're going to follow up on a home value lead, first of all, they have to agree that they are actually curious about their home value, right? If they don't agree, they don't even want the value that you're about to offer them. Then they have to agree that in order for them to make like an intelligent decision, they need a professional's evaluation. If they don't agree that they need a professional's evaluation, you haven't even gotten their agreement to get to that next level where you can offer a professional's evaluation. So at every stage, I think you have to get like their agreement, and it has to be what's in their best interest, and they have to agree with you that what you think is the next step is also what they think is the next step. And if there may be some convincing, some persuasion, some information that needs to be given, but the bottom line is whatever is going on in their mind and they think is the roadmap to where they need to make the decision, like you have to come alongside them and say, okay, great, help them along that decision point. And Gene, you talked about like developing content that will attract them. That's a way to do that. But I think a lot of it just comes down to your approach and understanding that at a deep level, that, hey, like before we can get to the third base, they have to agree that they want me to step off of first base and creep a little bit to where I can make a run at second base. Then they have to agree and let me stay at second base. Then I can get to third base. To bring it down to a horrible, horrible analogy that, God, Kristen, I hope you're not listening to this, but that is the marketing to dating analogy, and then I'm going to stop there.
Here, look, so I'm just going to do this, ready? Because I wrote this down as you were talking. I don't know if you'll be able to read it.
You're good. Yep, there you go. Value and patience. Are we looking at the triangle?
Yeah. Value and patience. I wrote. You said what are the two things, and that's why I was laughing when Matt said first thing is bring value. That's what I had written down. And then, unfortunately, like you said, the most bones are made in the middle to the end of the call. The reality of it is that you're going to need to have a relationship with that person before they have full trust in you. And so the patience is important, because you're going to have to nurture that relationship and handle it to the point where they say, okay, I'm comfortable, I'm ready to sell, here's my lead, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And, Anthony Harper, dude, good question. He's watching us live right now. And yeah, you can definitely do this when it comes to door knocking as well. The way you do that is you do, I guess just talk about things that they find valuable in their lives. So what I do, Anthony, if you go door knocking, dude, when you're approaching the property, find something that you like about the home. So if you like the garden gnome, if you like the pavers, the BMW in the driveway, the front porch, the windows, the paint of the house, whatever, the flowers, whatever it is, find something you genuinely like about it. And then once you start your conversation with them, and if you feel that conversation waning in any way, shape, or form, completely shift on them and say, you know what, Bob, tell me about your Beamer. I mean, the X6. How do you like that? It's a pattern interrupter, and it gives them permission to talk about something they have purchased. Is also a subliminal compliment that they have made something that you're interested in. And so you can build a rapport off of that, and you continually ask questions like that about that item or something else, and that will help build that relationship on the doors. That's a quick little tip for you. But Matt, we are 2 minutes over. We got to put a bow on this bitch and send it home.
That's right. Follow us all. That's it. That's all we got. Follow us all on Facebook. We are hard at work on our next course, Get Now Business. So we will be releasing that into the world early next week on Monday's show. We will tell you the link where you can get the details and sign up for that. So that is, man, we are super, super excited about that because it takes value and patience. And unfortunately, most people don't have that. We're going to teach you how to go after the most likely sources of leads that whether they know, like, or trust you or not. But what are those sources of leads that where you can provide value to them and have a little bit of patience, but actually have a chance at getting a client now without trying to go from first to third base and annoy the crap out of people. So that's what that's about. So that's going to be available on Monday for you guys to sign up for. That starts the second week of May. So the second Monday in May will be the first session for that course. It's the same structure as Rockstar Prospecting. It is 1 week at a time, or, 1 hour at a time, every Monday morning at 9 Pacific, noon Eastern for 4 weeks straight, and we will teach you how to do that. Gene, I'm sorry, I had to mute you. You have some weird cat dying in the background. But anyway.
My kids just walked in the front door. It was the front door.
No, I'm pretty sure they stuck a cat in the door and shut it on its tail. Anyway,
no,
Greg,
it was the kids coming home from school. Kids coming home from school. I'm sorry, they just walked in the front door. That's why I was doing this. If you look back, I was going like this. No, just the one thing. So, we talk about on my side, how can they get in touch with me? I'm going to ask for a favor from the REU community. I was just awarded the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation's Philly's Finest. Say that 5 times real quick for 2017. And don't. And I'm in exchange for that, I'm asking for donations. So if they would go, I'll put the link in the thing here. If they go to genev.co/CF Philly, and just put an REU somewhere in their name. If they think that I provide value, it's for a good cause. It's not for me. If they would make a small donation, I would be more than grateful.
Yeah, they're good cause, good people's, good idea. All right, guys, we love you. We do this for you. You guys know that. That's why we're here. We want to give you guys every tool and tactic and everything you can to live the life of your dreams, like Matt says every single show on the intro. So, guys, follow me on Facebook if you want to see this. If you want to see my live prospecting calls, follow Matt. Wear a trench coat. He loves that. And, guys, we will be back on Monday. Matt, who do we have Monday?
Man, I don't know that we have anybody on Monday. I believe it's you and me.
Oh. And the blessings keep coming.
That's right. It's a solo episode. So, guys, make sure to put your questions in the comments on Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Guys, if you have questions that you want answered in advance, you can also get our attention by putting the question in the Lead Gen Scripts and Objections group. If you're not already a member, it's run by a good friend of the show, Aaron Wittenstein. Head over to his group and make sure to join because it's a great growing group of agents. And there's a lot of newer agents, a lot of agents that are restarting, and people that want to build their lifestyle business in that group. So other people to connect with that are like-minded and on the same journey. So with all that being said, Gene, we really appreciate you hanging out with us and doing kind of giving the marketing counterpoint to Greg. So it's always nice to outnumber Greg sometimes 2-1 on a few things here and there, although Greg still, goes down valiantly with the ship, which we appreciate. And with that said, everybody have a great weekend. Greg, any final thoughts?
Yeah. Peace out, ninjas. We're gone. I'm tired of getting beat up.